Now, the trial of Irish pro-Palestinian activist Daniel Tatlow Devally and 4 others began in Stuttgart in Germany yesterday amid chaotic scenes in court. Defence lawyers staged a protest, saying they'd been unable to contact their clients, eventually forcing the hearing to be suspended. The accused, including 32-year-old Daniel, are known as the Ulm Five. They've been held in high-security detention since last September. It's alleged that they mounted an attack on the offices of the Israeli military technology company Elbit Systems. Daniel's family fear that German authorities are trying to make an example of him to prevent further such actions taking place. A little earlier, I spoke to Daniel's father, Conor Devally. But first, I asked journalist Hanno Hauenstein to take me through the case, starting with what happened last September.
In the early hours of September 8th, 5 activists that linked themselves to Palestine Action, they wore black hoodies and signs that said Palestine Action. They broke into the German subsidiary of the arms company Elbit Germany in Ulm. And according to the prosecutors, they damaged parts of that facility. They damaged furniture, windows, some of the technical equipment that's inside there, using tools like axes and sprayed slogans and chanted slogans. What's important here is that they filmed themselves during this action, so everything they did that day is online, and their self-proclaimed aim in this whole action is to stop shipments from Elbit Germany to Israel to comply to the Israeli military in order to deter or stop the genocide in Gaza. No one was actually harmed during this action. It's quite visible from the footage that didn't take place, and that they also actually called the police themselves and waited on site until they were detained, which is, in my view, cuts against this idea that this was a kind of violent clandestine operation, but much rather like direct action as a form of political protest.
OK, and yet they were charged under Section 129 of the German Code. You might talk me through, Hanno, the significance of that, and then also the conditions that they've been held in prison.
Sure. So the defendants, the 5, they face 4 charges altogether. The first 2 are rather intuitive. It's trespassing and property damage, estimated at around over €1 million. The third one is the use of banned symbols, which mainly pertains to political slogans like "from the river" and so on. And the fourth one is the one you just mentioned, the alleged membership in a criminal organization under Section 129 under the German Criminal Code. And this one is really significant because it allows the prosecutors to basically treat this case as a case of organized crime, and to paint these activists as basically a danger to German society. And this paragraph 129, this criminal code, is really the key in order to has been used in previous months to deny them bail, to justify pretrial extended detention. They've been in pretrial detention for up to 8 months at this point. And it also is the key for the potential sentences that they are facing, which are sentences of 5 years in prison. So right now, what we're seeing is that the visits are very limited, and that it's basically very harsh conditions they are facing.
Well, we have a family member here in studio, Hanno, so we're going to be hearing about Daniel's conditions now. But thank you so much for joining us on the programme this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Hanno. So Conor Devally, thank you so much for coming in to us this evening. What do you think, listening to all that?
Well, in part, I mainly think how worried I am. The drama of yesterday is shocking, but it's sort of consistent with the fact that the prosecution has commenced at a very high level of this Section 129. And that follows on with, as Hannah was saying, they were kept isolated for more than a month before I was able to get through at all to Daniel.
OK, so sorry, I'm going to stop you there. So will you bring me back then to September?
OK.
You get the call saying that Daniel has been arrested.
I got the call informally. It wasn't through any other means. We are very privileged in that his mum speaks very good German. She is half German. So unlike some of the other families who are not nationals of Germany, we were able to make contact with the prison authorities and others. And for a month, they failed to tell Daniel that anybody was trying to get in hold of him from his family. So he was even entertaining the thought he'd been abandoned. The lawyers took 2 weeks before they were admitted to see him. And on the day he was detained, they offered lawyers not of his choosing. He said, no, I have my own lawyer, I want them. And the lawyers trying to get in were denied access. So it started at a high level of antagonism, maybe, or presumption of something very subversive. And therefore, what happened yesterday is consistent with that. Having started calling it a 129 action, which would be like using the Offences Against the State Act here against a bunch of kids entering a veterinary surgeon or something like that. It's just completely overkill. I'm not a person who would like to commit these crimes, if they are crimes, of entering premises and so on. But nor am I one to demonise those who do as being subversives under the state, undermining the state. And it's a problem for Germany because it involves Israel. And I don't think they can have a perspective on it. They have a blind spot.
When was the last time you saw Daniel or were able to talk?
A couple of weeks ago, I was fortunate enough to be able to afford to go. He's allowed to see somebody for half an hour every 2 weeks, be it by video or in person. That's the sum total. So I've been lucky. I've been able to travel 4 times. But it's obviously at some inconvenience. I don't mind the inconvenience, but to get somewhere quite inconvenient like that and then have only half an hour is awkward. For the first many meetings, he was behind a complete screen. There was no touching of him, of course. And there are 2 policemen and an interpreter present. You're not allowed to talk about the action. So I can't ever say to him, and I have not been able to say, what the hell were you up to? Or where did you think this would bring you? Or anything like a dad would like to say to his son. We're not allowed to do that. When we write to him, it takes 5 weeks for the letter to get to him because it goes to the prosecution first. They translate it, and at their leisure, finally he gets it. So we have had no proper communication, but he's very resilient. He's done better than I would have under the circumstances he's in. He's 23 hours a day in a cell. He eats his meals there. His liberties are very minor. He's very good at exercising himself, at exercising his mind. And the only minor victory in legal sense was that he was being denied books. And he's a very deeply read person. It was essentially get them. We were sending Ulysses in envelopes. I think it took 25 for his mother to stuff with Ulysses until they finally relented and he get proper books.
As Hannah was outlining there, they're accused of membership of a criminal organisation. It's being claimed they're members of Palestine Action Germany. And the prosecution has also claimed that they use symbols linked to Hamas. And Hannah made reference to it there. The phrase river to the sea in German courts have found in the past that phrase is a symbol of Hamas. What do you think about all those charges against him? I know you say you haven't been able to talk to him about it.
Well, I think that the German state and the German people, and they are friends of ours, it's not an antagonistic matter, have a very weighty history that they can't quite deal with. They've faced up to it more than their neighbours have. They've tried to look it in the eye. But to one degree, I feel that they have outsourced their conscience to Israel instead of actually thinking, does never again, which is the big phrase in Germany. It doesn't mean that Germany doesn't do anything bad to Jews again. It means never again for anyone. I don't think they've got their head around that. And there's a huge sensitivity that if you wave a Palestinian flag, to some Germans, it's like being pro-Holocaust because they just have an idée fixe about Israel must be right, regardless of what it does, even though that may be genocide and certainly is war crimes. So it's a terrible bind for them, but it now involves my son, so obviously I feel deeply.
So where does this go to from here then? If you look at what happened in the court yesterday, the screens are up. He is being treated as a serious criminal, as a member of a criminal organisation. Are you confident that he will get a fair trial in Germany?
It's very hard for me to have that confidence, even though I'm, very friendly with that state and I know a lot of people who are in Germany. But on this issue, I feel no confidence at the moment. I have some practice in the courts. That's irrelevant to this. But if you dress somebody up like Hannibal Lecter for the media or for the public, they become dangerous in those person's eyes. If you put people behind screens that are usually for the mafia or for organisations that use arms and explosions to wrest their freedom, even though it's a bunch of kids who did this, it then makes them look like that. So I have no confidence at the moment.
Did Daniel have any history?
None.
Any dealings with him?
His only history was that he went on marches, much as we do here every Saturday and around the country for Palestine. That's all.
And can I ask you finally, Conor, do you want the Irish authorities to get involved or to help in some way?
I think it's delicate for government. However, there seems to be some political influence within Germany over what prosecution does, as opposed to here where it's entirely independent. So I think it's therefore appropriate for politics to come to bear on the German politicians to say, look, you actually have more control there than we do over the court process, over the Department of Justice, and therefore the prosecution. And this is under our eyes, and we don't admire it. It's not proportionate.
All right. Conor, thank you so much for coming into us.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
Sarah.
your time.
Thanks.